You've known them your whole life. They made your lunches, taught you how to ride a bike, and now they're asking your name. If you've seen it happen, you know how absolutely heartbreaking it is to watch. So, we urge you to listen to these 8 warning signs that could mean your loved one is struggling with more than just normal aging. Signs that it could be Alzheimer's. Our goal for this video is to simply and quickly explain all 8, so we will not be going in depth on any of these. Feel free to ask questions or offer advice in the comments. And please remember, while we always do what we can to provide scientifically based information and advice, we are not medical professionals. We are just people who have been through these struggles and want to help others during these difficult times. But please, do additional research and speak with a doctor to be sure you are taking the correct actions that will help your loved ones in the best way. Number 1, memory loss that disrupts daily life. I know this might sound obvious, but we aren't talking about them forgetting where they left their glasses. We're talking about them forgetting that they wear glasses at all, not just that they can't find their keys. The fact that they are looking for the keys to a car they haven't had in 10 years. Other things like asking the same question again and again with no memory of asking it can also be a sign, but usually that's only if it happens regularly. Number 2, difficulty completing familiar tasks. They've been making coffee for 40 years, and now they forget the steps. They get lost on the way to the same store they've been going to for decades. Even changing the TV channel becomes confusing. Often they will say things like, "My coffee maker is broken," or other phrases that imply that the problem isn't with their memory. This is normal and understandable, since the world they've known has slowly started to become foreign. They will need your unwavering support. Next is something that is even worse than losing their keys and their sense of direction. Number 3, confusion with time or place. No, this is not the same as when you forget what day it is. While you might think it's Tuesday when it's actually Wednesday, they might think it's Tuesday every day. They might show up for appointments on the wrong month or miss them entirely. They even wake up at 3 a.m. thinking it's time to go to work, only they retired years ago. Number 4, trouble with words in speaking or writing. This one can be hard to distinguish between normal aging, normal fatigue, or something much more. They pause mid-sentence, searching for simple words, not in the way that most people have a brain fart and forget a word. This happens consistently for them. They call a toothbrush the mouth stick, or a refrigerator the cold thing. Now, you may know someone who does this anyway, even at a young age, which is why this can be difficult to tell the difference. You will have to use your judgment based on your knowledge of them. But a big sign is that they often get highly frustrated with themselves each time. So frustrated, in fact, that sometimes they just stop talking altogether, too frustrated to continue. And when communication breaks down, frustration and fear usually follow. But in some cases, it turns into something much darker, something we will discuss in a minute. But first, number 5, trouble with visual perception or spatial awareness. This one often goes unnoticed until something dangerous happens. They start bumping into furniture repeatedly. They can't judge steps or curbs properly. Driving becomes risky, not just because of memory loss or decreased vision, but because their brain can't correctly process depth, distance, or movement. Even reflections in mirrors can confuse them. They might think someone else is in the room. We are not talking about those random times where someone might trip over a curb or accidentally back into a garbage can. It's not just about clumsiness, it's that the visual world becomes unfamiliar and even frightening. Suddenly they are processing things in only 2 dimensions, like the world in front of them is a painting, making it impossible to judge distance and dangerous to try. Number 6, poor judgment or risky decisions. Unlike what we will talk about next, sometimes they lose their ability to think critically or even rationally, so they fall for obvious scams, give money to strangers, or wear winter coats in 90-degree heat. They stop bathing or brushing their teeth, convinced everything is fine. This is a strong sign that they need help, not just with their physical actions, but with their daily tasks and responsibilities. You may need to install a thermostat that you can control remotely or gain access to their bank account to help them manage money wisely. Number 7, mood or personality changes. Sometimes, instead of losing the ability to think critically, they lose the ability to regulate their critical thoughts, and suddenly, The kindest, most understanding person you know begins to feel like everything is deliberately meant to inconvenience or even harm them. They often become irritable, angry, or anxious. Subtle changes to their surroundings can scare them. They may even become paranoid around people they've known forever. Even you. They're no longer themselves, and they know something's wrong, even if they can't explain it. Now think about it. You lost your ability to drive, you find yourself in strange locations and surrounded by people you only vaguely remember, all while people are telling you that you did one thing or are supposed to do another, none of which you remember. What would you do? Well, the most rational thing they can think to do is the last sign on our list. Coming up next, the final sign, and one of the most heartbreaking to witness. Number 8. Withdrawal from social activities. They stop going to church. They don't call friends back. They sit silently at dinner with family, barely speaking, even though they used to be the life of the conversation. But it's not because they don't love you anymore. It's because they're scared, embarrassed, confused. Because in their mind, they're constantly trying to keep up in a world that no longer feels familiar. Time and time again, they had struggled with remembering words, processing what others said or questions that were asked, and eventually, they just give up. They start to retreat, not just from others, but from themselves. That's why this is one of the most painful signs to witness, because the person you love is still there, but they're slowly slipping away. In addition to getting help from a doctor, they really need your help. They need encouragement, they need acceptance, and above all else, they need to know that you love them and want to be with them, regardless of their struggles. That they are not a burden, that life can still be fun and have meaning, because when connection fades, loneliness creeps in. And the hardest part, they often know something's wrong, but can't fix it. That's where they need gentle guidance and persistent support. Alzheimer's doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in slowly and quietly. But these 8 signs, they are your early warnings. If you notice even a few of them, don't wait. Talk to a doctor, get support, and gently ease into that hard conversation. Because the earlier you act, the more of them you can protect, the more of you they'll remember, and the longer you can hold on to the moments that matter. If you have questions or additional advice, please comment below. And if this was helpful, please help our channel reach more people by liking this video and subscribing to our channel, because the hardest battles shouldn't be fought alone.